38 fire-breathing sports sedans due to take the grid for the 8-lap sports sedan race for Eon FM, 24.8 kilometres round the Sandown circuit. On pole position, Tony Hubbard, Falcon, 1 minute 12 seconds. Beside him, Larry Coggy in a Mazda RX-7, 1:14.4. On the second row of the grid, Tino Leo in a gold Holden Monaro, 1:14.4. Beside him, Charles Milner Tirana, 1:15.1. On the third row, Ken Lusty should be there, 1:16.2 in his Tirana. Beside him, Stuart Douglas, EH Holden, 1 minute 16.8. Flags out, field ready to go. Hubbard fast away in the big blue Falcon.
Coggy, it's a dreadful start in the RX3, falling back through the field. He's now in 5th place. He held up Graham Lusty enormously. We've got a flat tyre, I think, on 43, Ken Lusty, parking it out on the grass. Certainly a problem.
And Lusty very much bringing the field undone.
As Hubbard now tries to reassert himself in the lead.
Monaro versus Falcon.
Much of an argument, as Hubbard's got a lot of squirt, but then hanging on and arguing is Tino Leo. So, in fact, the argument is a good one.
Down through the S's. Hubbard against Leo.
Milner in 24. I think that's...
Falcon against Monaro, and just watch the grandstand go wild this time round. But it's Hubbard opening the lead.
Standing lap of 1:18.1. Average speed of 143 kilometres an hour. Oh, will he keep it off the fence? Yes, but only just, and loses a lot of valuable ground. And the lose back there in car 39 is Jeff Munday in his Chev Monza, going the wrong direction against traffic. Was in 5th place when he crossed the start-finish line, is nowhere now. But Hubbard he's leading from Leo. From Milner, 42 in 3rd place.
The Sandown crowd loves the confrontation between Ford and General Motors. Both manufacturers based in Melbourne. Probably a lot of the people in the grandstand here today work for one company or the other. And certainly Ford and General Motors has a polarising effect on the crowd here. And indeed also on the drivers. Tony Hubbard, a man who loves his Ford, so much so that he cried bitterly when it was wrecked in a crash in Adelaide last year.
Gap first to second is 3 seconds, and a flying lap for Hubbard, 11.86, 155 kilometres an hour. This is Milner, 3rd. A long gap to 4th. This car that was actually the quickest away when the flag dropped, 44, Graham Lusty Salika, shot away from the line, but was held up. He had traffic in front of him and nowhere to go, but he was actually accelerating faster than anybody, quite measurably. Motor car, Tony Hubbard's ex-Jim Richards Falcon. Very much lighter though than the standard Falcon, of course, because this is an anything goes category. And he now has a lead of 5.1 seconds. This man, Leo. Milner, you can see, is not so far behind him. Then Lusty, 8-9 seconds in arrears, being hammered by 47
John
is
Chambers.
John Chambers. Chambers looks to be close, but in fact he's about a second behind him. Quick through Yellow Terra corner. Hoggy, who put up a good fight. Sorry, 39 we're looking at. Jeff Munday, who in the Chevy Monza spun at the end of pit straight, is now down in 29th place.
Debris flying all over the track. We've seen a couple of occasions now where odd bits of bodywork have been picked up by tires. We just saw something fall off the back. Oh, and there we go. That's Lusty's car, is it? Up on Castrol Corner. Difficult to tell through the smoke and dust.
Sandown Hotel doorman invites him to get out.
And yet more debris on the track. There goes the leader.
This is how that particular incident happened. Two cars dicing and out wide and glancing back out of the dirt and forward into the fence on the other side of the track.
Hubbard now works his way through traffic. Takes over from Warwick Massey. Car 42 heading for the pits is Charles Milner, who was holding third position.
Hubbard weaving his way through the traffic in the Falcon. On his 5th lap, Hubbard, in an 8-lap race. So behind him now, the race order is 84. Tino Leo still holding second in the Monaro. And in third place is John Chambers in the Gemini-bodied car with a Mazda rotary engine, car number 47.
At least a couple of examples of oil flags out around the circuit, which is not going to please the Australian Touring Car Championship field when it comes to the grid shortly.
And of interest is that 47, John Chambers, has now been displaced for third by Graham Lusty, coming forward in car number 44. 6-litre V8 engine in his Celica-bodied car.
Stephen Harrison pulls his Escort into the pits and put it straight away. Tino Leo charges through our shot.
This is the man now in third place, Graham Lusty. He's overtaken 47 for that position. John Chambers had gone well in an earlier race. Got an excellent jump away from the line, but was blocked by other cars. And now it'll be interesting to see whether in the next 2 and a bit laps remaining, whether he can make ground on second place Leo. Very fast down the straight, the big V8 powered cars. Getting up around 240 kilometres an hour.
One and a half laps remaining for Tony Hubbard in the lead. And quite a gap, in fact, established now back to Tino Leo. Certainly a refreshing start to the 1984 season for Tony Hubbard, who's got just about every penny he owns in the world invested in this motor car. And when it rode itself off in a horrific crash at Adelaide International Raceway last year, started when Peter Brock in the Bob Jane Monza came straight across the starting grid and took out several cars, including Jim Richards' BMW Sports Sedan. Hubbard really thought his motor racing days were over. It's very good to see such work over Christmas rewarded and see him back on the grid and racing this year.
Now he leads by 13 seconds on his final lap against Tino Leo. It's a further 16.6 seconds back to Graham Lusty. Hubbard driving very sensibly, actually. He's keeping up enough pace to keep his concentration going, but doing it very tidily, looking after the car, not being silly.
Obviously a
very easy win.
Obviously a long way off the lap record, which stands to Tony Edmondson at 1 minute 6 seconds. As the checkered flag comes out now for Tony Hubbard, winner of the Eon FM Sports Sedan race over 8 laps. Second position now, Tino Leo in the Holden Monaro. Gold, looking like something out of Mad Max.
And a race time of 9 minutes 53.07 seconds.
And third position, of course, to car 44, Graham Lusty. The Toyota Celica across the finish line now, just ahead of car 47, John Chambers.
Back at Adelaide, and Sports Sedan action now for Adelaide International Raceway to be held over 6 laps. Let's take a look at how the cars will line up for the 6-lapper. From position 1, car number 2, Mick Monterosso in the Escort. Position 22, should I say position 2, car 22, Luigi Delica. Position 3, car 21, Grant Jarrett. Position 4, car 93, James Barsh. Position 5, car 12, Graham Jarrett. Position 6, car 25, George Carter. From 7, car 4, James Rosenberg. From 8, car 18, Ivan Piatanisi. From 9, car 15, Mark Podluski. From 10, 65, David Mann. From position 11, car 47, Lance Ridgway. From position 12, car 49, Bob Piper. And from position 13, car 71, Stephen Johns.
And another half dozen cars on top of that to complete the field for this 6-lap race. A very exotic assortment, from Escorts to Anglias to Bluebird Turbos. An old Camaro, a Mazda RX-3, a Tirana, they're all there.
Monterosso holds pole position, a light ready to come on. They're racing and getting away quickly. Monterosso in car number 2 was away smartly, but De Luca going with him, and also Jarrett getting away quickly as they race along the front straight here into the right-hander.
Side by side, coming down to the big right-hand sweeper.
Monterosso with the line.
Touched.
Delica giving him plenty to think about in car 22 in the Mazda 13B peripheral port-powered Ford Anglia. A rather unusual combination.
So Monterosso leads, De Luca,
Jarrett.
The former George Fury Nissan Bluebird, in fact, the car running third.
You can see the field as they come down onto the Motorcraft Oval for the first time. The lines through there, the left-hander, then the run down the short straight to Motorcraft. And here they come into the right-hander.
Monterosso, De Luca, Jarrett. James Barch in a Tirana holding down 4th spot as they sweep back onto the main straightaway. 1 lap completed.
Monterosso's car, a Escort in silhouette, but powered by a Ford Cosworth 2-litre 4-valve engine. It's the BDG engine, about 270 brake horsepower. The car behind developing a little less horsepower, but far lighter. It's Jarrett in the big Ford. His brother ahead of him at the moment in the Nissan Bluebird Turbo. Monterosso, the 1984 South Australian Sports Sedan champion. Every meeting he entered last year here in South Australia, he won in this car, car 2, the right-hand side of screen, and now starts to open up just a small gap as he comes onto the bowl.
I'd say from the look of things, he's got half a mortgage on the 85 title as well.
I'd agree with that. De Luca still running in second place, and then back to Grant Jarrett and the Bluebird Turbo in third, but he's under a little pressure, in fact, from car number 93, James Barsh, as they head along the front straight past BP and now up to the right-hander.
There's quite a tussle there at
Here
the
he comes on the inside. De Luca tried to take the line away from Monterosso. Monterosso hangs on, but going through on the inside is De Luca. Monterosso, I think, has been stirred up to a little bit of combat now as they head down towards the Bridgestone S's.
He had to lose, sticking out that wide. So De Luca leads.
93, Barsh has moved up into third, and he has passed Grant Jarrett in the Bluebird Turbo.
not the place to get past the big Monterosso.
Having a great scrap, these two in front. DeLuca stretches that lead just a little bit away from Monterosso as they come down to the right-hander at the bottom end of the bowl at Motorcraft. Just watch them as they come out of here.
Monterosso looking for the slingshot. Tries the outside, ducks back into the slipstream. Weaving and ducking all the way down the main straight.
He's certainly been able to shake Monterosso at that stage. Now he closes up. Car is a little better under brakes.
DeLuca hugs the inside.
Makes a run here at the outside. We've thought about it. So DeLuca is still there, but Monterosso hasn't given up his challenge. Heading down to the Bridgestone S's.
Twitchy in the tail, Monterosso.
Barch still back in third place. And fourth held by Grant Jarrett in the Bluebird
Academic.
Turbo.
Oh, look at this. He's got through. What a place to get past. Miraculous stuff from Monterosso. Brave man.
Monterosso looking good under brakes and through the turns, but this little Mazda-powered Anglia is flying down the straights, averaging about 145 kilometres an hour at the moment, around the 2.41 kilometres of Adelaide International Raceway. And watch now as DeLuca will ultimately dive out from behind the slipstream, from behind the Escort. Does so, looks for the inside running at the end of this enormously long straight and takes back the lead once again, but Monterosso wants to argue. Side by side as they go to the right hand, and nowhere to go for the man on the outside, and Monterosso forced back into second place.
Just as well these two know this circuit.
Ooh.
He is really trying hard, Monterosso.
Starting to play for keeps.
Okay, down again towards the S's. Still DeLuca in that Anglia bodied car. That's about the only thing that resembles an Anglia.
Used to have an 1800 Ford Cosworth engine in it up to about 12 months ago, and he's been having all sorts of teething problems getting the rotary in there. And it's his first competitive drive for 6 months, so he's not doing too badly at the moment.
Here they come onto the high-speed Motorcraft bowl again. 1 lap remaining as they come around this time. Stick like glue down the straight, and I think he's got a little bit of a break this time. DeLuca. Yep.
Barsh still back in third place and Jarrett fourth in the Bluebird Turbo. So those positions haven't changed. Still DeLuca leading into the right-hander at the end of the straight for the final time.
He's shaken Monterosso a little. Monterosso's probably shaken himself.
I'd say so. He made every attempt that last lap to try and gather back the lead. That didn't work out. Closing just a little bit as they head down towards the S's.
Well, he did get past here once before. I don't know whether he's within striking distance of trying it again.
Well, they're coming up on some slower cars, and here he goes on the inside.
Oh, goodness me.
I tell you what, watch DeLuca on the outside. Out comes him, and the two of them run off into the wall. Both of them, the leaders, Monterosso and DeLuca, have hit the wall, coming onto the bowl. Barsh will now pick up the lead from Jarrett in the Bluebird Turbo. Bad luck there because Barsh's car...
Oh, cutthroat stuff, those two. They've put each other out of the race.
Last corner comes up. Jarrett starts to gain on Barsh as they come out of the bend. In car number 93, it makes a lunge at him on the line, but can't do it. Barsh will go on to win from Jarrett in 21. And then car number 12, Graham Jarrett, finishing back in third.
Well, look at this, will you? These two guys, Monterosso and DeLuca, they've had the race between them all day, and they just couldn't leave it alone. Here comes Monterosso. He got through here once before. He tries it again, gave DeLuca a real shock. DeLuca goes the outside on the reverse camber as they come onto the bowl. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, goodbye. And they both end up in the wall. And, well, they've got nobody to blame but themselves. They were playing it just too hard.
DeLuca lucky not to roll on that occasion.
That was a pity indeed, because they put on such a fine race up at the top of the field. Monterosso and DeLuca, and to see just a little bit of nervousness there in the last corner, it was indeed a pity.
James Barch ended up winning the race in the Tirana car number 93. Second placing went to car 21. That was Grant Jarrett in the Bluebird Turbo, and third, car number 12, Graham Jarrett in a Camaro.
And our next event coming out onto the circuit, it'll be the Wins Sports Sedan and GT race. It should be an interesting one. The earlier race this morning was quite a beauty. There are some rather unusual vehicles down here in Tasmania lining up for this one, I can tell you. Let's have a look at the top 12. after qualifying. On the front row of the grid, from pole position, Leon Burden in the Commodore, a time of 59.95. Alongside him, Greg Crick, a time of 60.26. On the second row of the grid, Martin Sinclair in the Tirana, a time of 60.59. He'll share the second row with Matthew Springer, a time of 60.63. On the third row of the grid, Tony Jory, although I'm not quite sure whether that car will be out there, and he's alongside Wayne Gaffney. The next row of the grid, Stuart Salter, a time of 62.65. He shares that row with Andrew Farr, 65.03, and Stephen Swain alongside Darryl Boyd. And Michael Elliott will round out the 11th driver there, not having 12 in this field, in fact. So this is Burden. It's actually a 6-cylinder Commodore, not a V8 as it probably looks like. A little like the old dealer team Group C cars of yesteryear from the touring car ranks. He managed to finish second in the prelim this morning, so he's hot to trot. The man that he's going to have to worry about is Martin Sinclair. It's the yellow car in the background there, car number 14. He was the winner of the first heat. It's a turbo 6-cylinder Tirana, and it flies.
Well, the rest of the field gridding up now as we speak. There's Burden's Commodore. Number 36, Greg Crick, and the Mazda RX-7 moving up to his position. There's Martin Sinclair with the Tirana. Some wild and wonderful looking machinery.
Especially this one.
Whoa.
Car number 27, Wayne Gaffney. It's a Corona, believe it or not. Oh, what a feeling.
Well, the field just about set. 41, Andrew Farr in the Tirana. And there's the front row of the grid. Distance is 5 laps.
Crick broke an axle in the preliminary this morning in this Mazda on the left-hand side of screen. Got away quite well. It's one of the peripheral port 13B Mazda engines. And I think although I haven't checked, but I think that Corona that we saw has got a Mazda rotary in it as well, because it's a bit of a flyer. 5 laps the journey, as you said, a total of 12 kilometres around Symmons Plains.
We're probably about 15 seconds away from the start of the race. Waiting for the flag to go up. There's the grid.
Watch the car on that second row, Martin Sinclair, the winner of the previous event, car number 14.
Flag is up and down. And the Mazda is long gone leftward as they make the sprint down for the first time to the left-hander. And it's Greg Crick in the Mazda RX-7. But coming up very quickly indeed is Sinclair on the outside. And he's going for the long way round into the first turn. After Brample's hairpin for the first time.
How fast is this Tirana?
We'll find out. Burden comes up on the inside as they exit the turn. But there's Sinclair going after the Mazda. Down towards the Goodyear sweeper. Oh, how easy it is.
The thing just about sits up and begs. It flies. Turbo Tirana through to the lead. Martin Sinclair, car number 14. Down to the left-hander. Crick still in second. Burden in third, but only just.
It's got plenty of mumbo-jumbo. It's running away from the Mazda and the Commodore as they work the back part of the course, coming up to the Mazda hump. And doing it nicely, Martin Sinclair. Greg Crick in second place, Leon Burden in third. Mazda closed up a little through there. Once he gets the joystick working, Sinclair just manages to stretch them. There's 3 that haven't made it. One of those involved looked like Michael Elliott's Mazda. There's number 27. It's involved, Wayne Gaffney in the Corona. Oops. Now they have a slight problem there.
They certainly do. I think the other car that was on the left-hand side of screen, that car there, the Mazda car 66, is the John Walker Mazda RX-7. That car was campaigned by Graham Moore and Peter McKay at Bathurst as the Ghostbusters car a couple of years ago. It's been given a rebirth. Well, what's happening here? I think there's yellow flags out, and I suspect that Burden went through under the yellow there, which is a little bit naughty.
Oh, well, it gets your television exposure. The Mazda's coming down for a big lick here on the inside. Greg Crick, no, couldn't pull that. So Leon Burden and the Commodore, followed by Greg Crick at this stage, while the officials try and cure the problems of the guardrail gyrations up at the other end of the circuit.
Well, we've lost car number 14, Martin Sinclair. When I say lost, he's a long way back in the field, but he's not at the right end. So Burden will lead it, Crick driving up his exhaust pipe, and Matthew Springer comes into the ballpark in the green Tirana. Oh, there's everything out there. There's tow trucks, and
they've obviously watched the reruns of Bathurst. Up to the left-hander at the hairpin. And this is where the cars collided 2 laps ago. Coming down under the flags. Burden through. Crick is the next one. Then Springer back in third in the Tirana.
Through the temporary chicane.
Up to the Goodyear sweeper.
Another of the Mazdas has died on the left-hand side of the road there. So Burden, I think, has inherited a nice, comfortable lead at the moment.
Down to Coca-Cola. And Leon Burden in the Commodore, number 12. Leads by probably about 2 or 3 car lengths from Greg Crick and the Mazda RX-7 as they work their way up towards Besant and to Mazda Hummer. Over now. Tucked down into the left-hander. Brings them up to the start-finishing line. Burden starting to open his gap now. 2 laps to go in this 5-lapper. Sponsored by Wins and once again up to the Brambles hairpin.
Crick acknowledges the yellow flag.
There's plenty of them.
Through the hairpin, we'll see what's happening down there this time. It'd almost be better to just leave them alone for the moment and keep the track free. It's only a sprint race. So the Mazda makes a lunge now at the back of the Commodore.
Down towards Coca-Cola corner, left-hander. Mazda really that much closer this time, so Leon Burden in the Commodore, who was fastest qualifier with a 59.95, in front with about 1 1/4 laps remaining.
Curious thing is what happened to Martin Sinclair, because he was leading comfortably and then all of a sudden the drama back in the field and he disappeared as well. Gee, the Mazda gets very close to the back of the Commodore through the pit corner. 1 lap now remaining. There's Springer in 3rd place, and a long, long way back in 4th is Kerry Bailey in the Tirana.
To the Brambles hairpin again, Leon Burden. Mazda very close through here, but loses out on the horsepower run down to Coca-Cola corner.
Coming up behind car 41, Andrew Farr.
Excuse me, boys. Okay, Forstow's out of the way. And away goes Leon Burden again down to the Goodyear sweeper. Greg Crick has lost out in that run. And, of course, Matthew Springer in the Tirana still in 3rd. I don't think those positions are going to chase. It just depends entirely of how close Crick can get to the tail of the Commodore as they enter the last part of this lap. It's a little closer this time, coming up once again towards Besant corner, down to the Humpert Mazda. This could be interesting. How close does he need to be? Come through the turn, and Leon Burden. Mazda switches the inside. Springer in a bit of stripe back behind him, but Burden will go on the winner. And does quite nicely from Crick. And Matthew Springer getting up there to finish in 3rd. Well, a very interesting race, a race of changing fortunes. Let's recap the placings for you. The win goes to Leon Burden in the Commodore, 2nd to Crick in the Mazda, and 3rd to Springer, the Stinger, in the Tirana.